This week on ANN, the Oakwood Adventist Academy basketball team forfeits a big game due to their commitment to the Sabbath.
ADRA Samoa is building houses for vulnerable families.
And a construction worker in Brazil is baptized after working with Mission Caleb.
These stories and more coming up.
Thank you so much for joining us this week.
First in the news, in a story that made national news in the United States, the Oakwood Adventist Academy High School boys basketball team had to forfeit a playoff game, giving up their chance to win a state championship because the game was scheduled on Saturday, or Sabbath, February 19th.
The team advanced to the Sweet 16 playoff round. When they learned they were given a 4:30 p.m. game time, they asked the Alabama High School Athletic Association and other teams in the regional tournament if they would switch them to the 7:30 p.m. game, which was after Sabbath.
Senior team captain Raynon Andrews told WAFF News, "When God created the earth on the seventh day, he rested. He calls us to rest on that day and give that day to him. I'm not going to play on that day, no matter what, because it's bigger than basketball. People want us to play. They say, just play on Saturday. But I got to stick to my faith and stand up for what's right and believe God will make a way for us to play," Andrews said.
The Oakwood Adventist Academy said they were not looking to change the date or location, but only switch their time with another team until after Sabbath. The Alabama High School Athletic Association has denied that request twice over email.
This is a developing story, and we'll have more as more information becomes available.
Vulnerable families in Samoa are being assisted with new housing as part of a partnership between the Samoan government and the Adventist Development and Relief Agency, or ADRA Samoa. In 2020, the Samoan government allocated 1 million Samoan tala from its stimulus package to assist struggling families. ADRA Samoa used the grant to build simple wooden houses for 120 families. 53 houses were also refurbished by ADRA. Earlier this month, the Samoan government announced further funding of 2 million tala for ADRA Samoa and Caritas Samoa as part of its shelter and hygiene facilities program. Caritas has received 500,000 tala to construct water tanks, while ADRA has received 1.5 million tala to build homes, sanitation facilities, disabled ramps, wash basins, and security fencing for each house. This will support 88 vulnerable households. ADRA Samoa Country Director Sua Julia Walwork said, "It has been a very exciting period for ADRA in Samoa, especially when we have been able, through the shelter interventions, to make a significant difference to people's lives and to help them strengthen their resilience to pandemics and natural disasters. Most importantly, moving vulnerable families into better dwellings has given them security and comfort and a better way of life." ADRA Samoa is also continuing its Maluapapa Safe Haven Project in partnership with Habitat for Humanity New Zealand. Funded by the New Zealand Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade, the project will continue for the next 4 years, offering training to communities in the participatory approach to safe shelter awareness and build back safer programs, and providing funding for those communities to build safer and resilient evacuation centers for disaster preparedness.
More than 1,000 laypersons in South Colombia were recently trained during a special congress to strengthen small group ministry in the city of Villavicencio, not far from the capital, Bogota. The Lay Congress, held February 5th, drew regional and local leaders from the East Los Llanos Conference to better equip small group leaders and active members in spreading the gospel where they live. Theme Esperanza Definitiva, or the ultimate hope, the Congress sought to bolster the lay forces developing the discipleship, retention, new believers, and missionary couples ministries in each congregation with the purpose to preach the gospel everywhere in the region. Personal Ministries Director for the Adventist Church in Inter-America, Melchor Ferreira, motivated hundreds of laypersons to continue laboring with all their might in growing the church. Ferreira said, "We have more than 2,000 years of accumulated experience in laypersons, which means that the primitive church grew on the foundations of laypersons, church members. Very few were evangelists, but churches multiplied, and new churches were planted on the work of so many anonymous lay people who worked with tenacity and tireless efforts. The same is repeated throughout history and in the 21st century, he added. Leaders provided 1,100 missionary work kits for church leaders, pastors, and ministers, as well as new believers kits, which contained a Bible, Bible study courses, Sabbath school quarterly, and more. With a membership of more than 20,700, the goal is to mobilize the membership to expand to 350 additional small groups, 700 missionary couples, more than 1,200 Bible instructors, and reach 1,000 baptisms this year. Regional leaders plan to hold another Congress to gather more lay people and equip them for coordinated evangelism efforts this year. The other 8 regional conferences and missions in South Colombia have begun holding lay congresses this month, with more planned for the coming months as part of the evangelism strategy this year and in celebration of the Inter-American Division Centennial in 2022.
The construction of Adventist College of Alagoas in Bahia, Brazil, became a point of preaching and decision. Of the 74 construction workers who worked on the project, 37 are studying the Bible.
The South American Division shared the story of Juclay Arroyo, a bricklayer who was baptized as a result of the work of the Caleb Mission volunteers.
Eles estão com a mão na massa, dando forma e beleza ao Colégio Adventista de Alagoinhas. Mas quem disse que na construção não tem missão Caleb? Durante as manhãs de janeiro, a primeira atividade do dia era participar da programação, louvando e aprendendo sobre Jesus.
A missão Caleb aqui na obra surgiu no coração de um amigo meu chamado Julivan. Ele teve essa ideia e o pastor ele me indicou para ser o evangelista daqui. E aí eu resolvi fazer uma equipe juntamente com o Julivan, e essa equipe tem se dedicado muito. E a gente tem visto muitos frutos aqui na Missão Caleb, nessa construção. A gente tem visto o agir de Deus nesse lugar.
A Missão Caleb ela foi muito importante aqui na construção do colégio, porque foi a oportunidade que os funcionários tiveram de conhecer a palavra de Deus. Porque nós entendemos que muito mais do que construir paredes, nós precisamos trabalhar na construção da vida das pessoas, no sentido de que elas precisam ter uma experiência de vida com Jesus Cristo.
Dos 74 funcionários, 37 estão estudando a Bíblia através da Missão Caleb. Enquanto eles se dedicam no avanço da obra, Deus trabalha intensamente em seus corações. É o caso de Juclay, que é um dos ajudantes aqui da construção e tomou a decisão de entregar a sua vida a Jesus.
Tomei minha decisão através de todo dia pela manhã, da Missão Caleb, dos cultos, dos louvores. Estou muito feliz que eu sou o primeiro a ser batizado aqui e eu sou o primeiro de muitos que virão.
O batismo que aconteceu hoje foi algo extraordinário e trouxe alegria para todos nós.
Nesse ano, em toda a Bahia e Sergipe, foi alcançada a marca de 50 mil voluntários atuando como Calebs. Fazendo menção à marca, essa missão ficou conhecida como Caleb de Mão Cheia.
O nosso objetivo não era simplesmente um número. Deus seja louvado pelos 50 mil. Mas o nosso objetivo é ter um Caleb completo. Onde o quê? Onde os jovens vão visitar, eles vão pregar, eles vão apelar, eles vão batizar e, acima de tudo, discipular. Que foi o desafio que Deus mandou. Então, quando a gente olha para os 8 mil Calebs que teve na BAC, completando esses 50 mil, a gente fica feliz, porque independente da área onde ele trabalhou, na ilha, em construção ou em lugares tão ermos e difíceis, Deus usou cada um para poder fazer a diferença. Então Deus seja louvado por essa juventude que se dedicou para prestar a volta do Senhor Jesus.
Caleb! Eu sou! Missão Caleb! Eu sou!
Coming up, it's been a while since we talked about the Adventist Church's strategic plan, Reach the World, I Will Go.
Today, we sit down with Special Assistant to the President of the Seventh-day Adventist World Church, Mike Ryan, about how you can incorporate the strategic plan into your life.
Welcome back.
It's been almost 2 years since the Seventh-day Adventist World Church launched the new strategic plan, Reach the World, I Will Go.
At the core of the plan, I Will Go is a rallying cry to total member involvement. It's about each of us individually, and it's about the corporate church too. We need to partner together to share the gospel with our communities and to the ends of the earth.
We recently sat down with Special Assistant to the Seventh-day Adventist World Church President, Mike Ryan, to talk about I Will Go and how everyone can participate.
Elder Ryan, thank you so much for being with us today on ANN. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for asking.
Good. Well, I brought you here. We asked you to come here to talk about I Will Go. I Will Go is the strategic plan for the 5 years, the quinquennium. How's it going? How do you feel I Will Go is going? We're about halfway in, 2 years into I Will Go. How's it going?
I think it is going terrifically well. I have been involved in the strategic planning of the church for probably the last 20 years. And probably the last 15 years, I have directed it. And I watch it each quinquennium. And I think I Will Go has had the best launch of all. And there's a major reason for that. And that is the fact that leadership has owned it. And they are the ones who actually are giving it visibility. And I think if you go anywhere in the world, at a division year-end meeting, at a union year-end meeting, you will talk to people there who know what I Will Go is all about. And that's possible because we've had good partners proclaiming it. A matter of fact, the communication department of the General Conference, I think, have been big partners in helping that visibility. But also the Review, Ministry Magazine, Elders Digest, even your Sabbath School Quarterly, the Children's Department's quarterlies and papers and, stories and different publications. They have been partners in proclaiming that. So I think that there is good visibility in terms of the program and also what it is all about. It's obvious from the title, I Will Go. So the question comes, well, then how is it really going? The last couple annual councils and the last few spring meetings have received reports from divisions on various key performance indicators. The I Will Go plan is predicated on many programs that we know are successful, but it is also predicated on reaching goals in areas where we know that we need to make improvement. For example, the work in cities is a little bit light. Our presence there is not felt. And there are many areas that we need to improve on. You cannot have a church that you have 55, 60% of the people reading the Bible and praying and expect to have that be, as good as it can be, or involved in some type of an outreach. And so I Will Go works hand in hand with the Total Member Involvement Program. And of course, that's the big appeal. Let's get behind this and go after it like a team.
One of the things that I found when we were promoting I Will Go when it first came that I felt was really exciting about it was that it takes personal responsibility. I will go. And I think people felt that they could take ownership of the initiative in a way that made them feel like part of something bigger. Like, I'm an individual, I can participate in this global movement for the church. And I think that made people really excited about being involved in I Will Go. I don't know if that's something that you found or not.
Oh, absolutely. I kind of always wished that the title to the program would somehow include the thought that when I say I will go, it's with the understanding that Jesus is going with me. The Holy Spirit is going with me. So while I am going, I am claiming the promise that when I go, I have angels walking with me. So.
Yeah, that's a good thought too, because what the Holy Spirit motivates us in ways to get involved and impresses it in ways that he can use our our spiritual gifts that we are given to get involved in the church. One of the questions that we get asked in the communication department sometimes is, my local administrative office isn't participating and I will go, or they're not sharing, or they're not officially participating, or my local church isn't, but I want to participate. What would you tell someone who can't find an official way to participate, but they still want to be part of I Will Go?
That's a very good question. And I think, well, first of all, I would say that most units in the church are participating. Now, sometimes they will choose a different name than I Will Go, because it just is something that suits the culture of the immediate environment that they're in. And so they may choose some other, and I could name some of those programs. But if you say, well, my church or the conference or the union really not embracing that name, I think if you look in their plan, you will find things that overlap and are very similar. And I encourage every church member to cooperate with their church plan and their conference plan. And yet you can still cooperate with the I Will Go plan, because you will find that there is some overlap. Now, to give you some idea as to things that the I Will Go plan is really focused on, you can go to the I Will Go website, and you will find the entire booklet. It names the big three themes in I Will Go. That we know that's spiritual renewal. It is the revival. That's a huge one right off the bat. Mission is another one, and that includes many areas. And another theme, of course, is leadership, and whether you happen to be the leader of a division or you happen to be the leader of your family, you can still become involved in I Will Go, and there you can read those outcomes that are being promoted and put forward in the I Will Go plan, and it touches all of these areas. Matter of fact, there are 10 objectives, and you can look at those objectives, and then under each objective there are actual measurements in which we are trying to move forward. And why do you have to become involved in all of it? Absolutely not. Everyone has a spiritual gift, and everyone's spiritual gift is different. And so look in there and say, yeah, I think I can do this. Or I think I could do that. So there are children's programs, adult programs. There are programs where you can write. There are programs where you can support things not only in prayer, but through your giving. And there are many things that can be done in the I Will Go program. Matter of fact, there are people who could actually go and become missionaries that are self-supporting. And you can find a job somewhere in the corporate marketplace, and go there to a place where we don't have any presence at all. And there are people who have those gifts.
Right. And the website is iwillgo2020.org. So if people go to iwillgo2020.org, and then you can find, like you just said, you can find all the information that you were just talking about. And you can go to something called Find Your KPIs and just click on church members. And there are the KPIs, which is what you were talking about earlier, the key performance indicators. And they can go in and see like what some of the things we're trying to reach. And just really great website.
And become part of that. Matter of fact, I would encourage anyone who listens to this broadcast and you choose one of those and you open a ministry and you have results, send your story to the communication department at the General Conference, because they will place it on the website. They'll place it on YouTube, many things, places that they can make your story, because your testimony, it inspires other people.
Amen. Now, the other question, people hear that we're having General Conference session coming up in just a few short months in June, and they might think that I Will Go will be over and we're going to have a new strategic plan. But we're here to set the record straight that this is the quinquennium plan, the 5-year plan. This is until 2025, correct?
That's absolutely correct.
Yeah. Well, we want everybody to get involved using the spiritual gifts that they've been given, the way the Lord has given them gifts, to go out and spread Jesus' love. And that's what the heart of I Will Go is.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mike Ryan. Thank you for being here with us. It's great to see you, as always.
Coming up, Ashley Chisholm is here for This Week in Adventist History.
But up next, Adventist Mission has a story of a Brazilian missionary to Lebanon.
Welcome back.
Larissa Prius was a journalist, television producer, and researcher from Brazil who felt the Lord calling her to Lebanon.
Larissa left her comfort zone and went to work as a volunteer teacher to Syrian refugee kids in the country.
Adventist Mission has more.
My name is Larissa Prois. I'm from Brazil. I am a journalist and I worked for 10 years in television production. I was a researcher also, and the last job I had, I was working as a press secretary for the South Brazilian Union.
Where are you now?
I am working as a volunteer teacher for Syrian refugee kids.
What's your favorite local dish?
My favorite food from this place is the one that Ayat's mom, they are a Syrian family that I got to know here in Lebanon. They live right there on that balcony over there, and everything they make is delicious. From the falafel sandwiches that they make to like this very strange soup with like rotten cheese, but everything is very good.
How would you describe a hard day?
Teaching children is not that romantic experience that, oh, they're so cute and adorable. They are indeed cute and adorable, but they are also full of energy and uncontrollable. And, Miss, can I go to the bathroom? Miss, can I drink water? Miss, can I do this? Miss, can I do that? I don't like this, I don't like that. It drives me crazy. I want to find the button, eject planet Earth right now.
How would you describe a perfect day?
It doesn't matter if you have a diploma, it doesn't matter how many languages you speak, it doesn't matter where you've been. Like, to them, you're here and you're teaching them, and that makes it worth. And they thank God every day when you start to talk about things. They say, Miss, we thank God because you're here to help us and to teach us. And so this makes it perfect for me.
What would you say to someone who's thinking about volunteer teaching?
There is no growth when you stay in your comfort zone, but when you step out of your comfort zone, it's an opportunity that you have to develop and grow as a human being.
If you want to serve as an Adventist volunteer, visit vividfaith.com to browse open calls from around the world.
Watch this and other mission stories online by visiting adventistmission.org. Then click on videos at the top.
And finally, for today's episode, let's turn to Ashley Chisholm for a look at Adventist history.
Earlier this episode, we talked about the I Will Go strategic plan. This week, we'll hear about the history behind the movement.
Welcome to This Week in Adventist History. Beginning on February 26, 1891, and lasting into March, Adventists attended the non-denominational First International Convention of the Student Volunteer Movement for Foreign Missions, held in Cleveland, Ohio. The Adventist delegation in 1891 included people from Battle Creek Sanitarium, a newly minted medical doctor, 32-year-old Anthony Loper, a nurse, 28-year-old Mary Foy, returned missionary, 44-year-old Esther Whitney, and her 19-year-old daughter, medical student Jean. Those who organized the event emphasized evangelization of the world in this generation, and as another Adventist attendee, Percy T. McGann, reported in the pages of the review, they do believe that it is their duty and privilege to go themselves, and to get others to go, to lands other than their own, so that the gospel may be preached to every nation, kindred, tongue, and people in this generation. At the close of the convention, everyone there sang, "Nearer, my God, to thee, and God be with you till we meet again." And as McGann reported, every heart seemed to respond to the vibrations of one common chord of love and a desire to go forth into the harvest field, away from friends and home. Going forth was certainly on the minds of those who attended that first convention and the conventions which followed in later years, reflecting a broader general belief among Adventists that doing so was urgent, especially for those who believed in the Lord's soon coming. Indeed, by 1906, church educators and administrators noted the similarity between the student volunteer movement's goal and their own, the Advent message to all the world in this generation. By the 1918 General Conference session, General Conference President Arthur G. Daniels made it very plain. We aim at nothing less than the whole world. 104 years later, Adventists still aim at that goal. The church's newest strategic plan is I Will Go, a continuation of its previous plan, Reach the World. It's a concept found throughout Adventist history.
Thanks for watching ANN. Join us next week for more news from the headquarters of the Seventh-day Adventist Church.
Did you know the Adventist Church has a YouTube channel where you can watch ANN Video, ANN In Depth, and plenty other amazing videos on prophecy, health, and Bible study?
Just go to YouTube and search for the Adventist Church. Click the subscribe button to make sure you're caught up each week.
And remember, leave a comment or a prayer request. We have people who are praying for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Before we say goodbye, here's some good news from the book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 28.
The passage says, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose."
That's our program for this week. And remember, you can always visit Adventist.news for daily news and videos. Until next time, God bless.
Take care.